Secret 10. Your car tells you when to service it, but most people ignore the message. That pop-up on your dashboard is not a decoration. Mercedes built a system called Assist that watches how you actually drive. Stop-and-go traffic, highway miles, short city trips, and calculates what your car needs based on your real patterns. Round 10,000 miles, service A shows up. Most people swipe it away in 2 seconds flat. Nothing breaks that day and nothing breaks that week. So they wait, a month passes, then 6 months, the car still drives fine, and the alert gets ignored again. And that is exactly when damage starts building up quietly, with zero noise and zero warning lights telling you anything is wrong. What nobody mentions is what happens during those extra months. Oil breaks down past the point where it protects metal. Filters get clogged enough to restrict flow. Small problems a technician would catch during a routine check turn into expensive failures later. You are not saving time by skipping service, but you are borrowing it from your engine's future. The owners getting 500,000 miles out of their cars treat that alert like a bill. It shows up and gets handled, no debate. They check the maintenance screen every 2 weeks, track miles remaining, and book early. That one habit alone separates a car lasting 15 years from one getting traded in with a mystery rattle. Most people think they can see when oil goes bad just by looking at it. The next secret proves that completely wrong. Secret 9. Oil can be bad even when it still looks clean. Pull your dipstick out right now. If the oil looks golden or amber, most people assume it is good for another few thousand miles. A clean color means clean oil. That assumption has quietly killed more engines than almost anything else on this list. Oil does not need to look dirty to be chemically dead. In every drive, it picks up moisture, fuel traces, and combustion acids you cannot see on a dipstick. The color stays light, the feel stays normal, but its ability to protect metal surfaces is already gone long before it turns dark. Mercedes says to change it at 10,000 miles or 1 year. That schedule assumes mixed driving with decent highway miles included. Most people do not drive like that. Short trips, city errands, school runs. That is real life. And short trips are brutal because the engine never gets hot enough to burn off moisture building up inside the oil. That moisture just sits there accumulating week after week. The worst wear happens in the first 5 minutes after a cold start when metal surfaces are dry and unprotected. Degraded oil in those moments does almost nothing useful. If your week is mostly city driving, change oil at 7,500 miles instead of waiting for 10,000. Check the level every 2 weeks because some engines burn small amounts between changes with zero warning lights. There is one fluid most owners never think about until their brakes suddenly stop responding. That one is next. Secret 8. Old brake fluid slowly ruins your brakes from the inside. Most people check brake pads and call it done. Pads look fine, brakes feel fine, move on. What never gets checked is the fluid those pads depend on to actually function. And that fluid gets more dangerous with every passing month. Brake fluid absorbs water from the air constantly, just a tiny amount daily, but for over 2 years, that adds up to 3 to 5% water content sitting inside your brake lines. That sounds harmless until you understand what water does to a system built around heat. When you brake hard downhill at 70 miles per hour, fluid temperatures spike fast. Water turns to vapor. Vapor bubbles form in the lines. The pedal goes soft. You press it and the response is not there. That feeling is terrifying and completely preventable. Old fluid also corrodes tiny metal components inside your calipers and master cylinder. Those rust deposits restrict fluid movement or blow out seals entirely, so you are not just risking a soft pedal. You are risking full system failure. Mercedes folds brake fluid into service B every 20,000 miles or 2 years. Most owners look at pads with plenty of life left and skip the whole service. The pads are fine. The fluid is not. Change brake fluid every 2 years, no exceptions. If you drive in hilly areas or tow anything, do it sooner. Up next is a fluid that dealers call sealed for life, and that phrase has cost owners thousands to find out the truth about. Secret 7. Lifetime transmission fluid usually means don't touch it until it's too late. Sealed for life sounds reassuring. It means less maintenance, fewer costs, and one less thing to worry about. What it actually means is the lifetime of the part, and that part fails a lot sooner when the fluid inside never gets changed. During a single commute, your transmission shifts hundreds of times. Every shift generates heat. That heat breaks down fluid slowly over months and years. By 80,000 miles, it is running in degraded fluid daily. Fluid that lost its ability to protect clutch packs and gears long ago. Shifts still feel smooth. Nothing sounds wrong. That smoothness is what makes this dangerous, because you get no warning before something slips or shudders. Summer traffic makes it worse. Sitting still in hot weather pushes transmission temperatures 20 to 40 degrees higher than normal. That extra heat wrecks fluid faster than any amount of highway driving. On certain E-Class and C-Class models, Mercedes recommends a fluid change around 60,000 miles. Most owners blow past that number without a second thought. The owners who wait for symptoms pay for repairs. The ones who change fluid on schedule pay for maintenance. There is a $2,000 to $5,000 difference between those two decisions. Always use the exact fluid specified. Wrong fluid changes shift behavior within 1,000 miles and causes wear that shows up years later. One small problem in your cooling system can overheat your engine before the temperature gauge moves. That is exactly what the next secret covers. Secret 6. One small cooling problem can overheat the engine fast. Engines do not usually fail dramatically. No steam clouds, no smoke pouring out on the highway. Most of the time, it starts with something so small you would never notice. Just 200 milliliters of coolant disappearing over a few months. Less than a cup of liquid. That tiny loss makes the engine run 10 to 15 degrees hotter than normal. The gauge might still read normal for months, while extra heat stresses every gasket, every seal, and every metal surface inside. Nothing looks wrong from the outside while real damage builds from within. Cooling systems fail in small ways before they completely fail. A radiator cap with a slightly weak change system pressure, just enough to lower the boiling point. A thermostat sticking slightly makes the engine run hot during city driving. A water pump with a slow drip loses coolant for 6 months before you see any puddle. One overheating event can warp the cylinder head. That repair runs $2,000 to $6,000 and comes from a problem that would have cost $80 to fix 3 months earlier. Check the coolant level every 2 weeks. On hot days, glance at your temperature gauge while driving. Every few thousand miles, scan for white crusty buildup around hoses or the reservoir. That crust is dried coolant, meaning a slow leak already exists somewhere. Most people never connect a $25 part to serious engine wear. The next secret is about exactly that part, and almost nobody checks it on time. Secret 5. A dirty air filter makes the engine wear out quicker. Your engine pulls in enormous amounts of air every single time you drive. Every cubic inch of that air passes through the air filter before touching any internal engine part. A clean filter lets everything flow freely. A clogged one forces the engine to work harder just to breathe. And when airflow drops, fuel consumption climbs while power quietly drops. The engine tries to compensate. It burns more fuel, runs less efficiently, and generates more heat doing the same job it used to do easily. Mercedes specs say replace the air filter around 30,000 to 40,000 miles, depending on the model. But that is based on clean driving conditions. Live near construction, gravel roads, or dusty areas, and your filter clogs 2 to 3 times faster than the schedule assumes. The part most people miss is filter seating. If the filter does not sit perfectly inside its housing, dust sneaks around the edges and gets pulled straight into the cylinders. Over 50,000 miles that acts like fine sandpaper on piston rings and cylinder walls. Compression drops slowly. The engine starts burning oil. You never feel it happening until the damage is already serious. Check your air filter every 10,000 miles. If you drive on dusty roads more than twice a week, replace it sooner and do not wait for a service interval. It costs $25 and takes 10 minutes. A tiny engine stumble that lasts half a second can set off a chain reaction that destroys one of the most expensive parts on the entire car. That is what the next secret is about. Secret 4. A small misfire can quietly damage big expensive parts. Your engine stumbles for half a second, You feel a small hesitation, then it smooths right back out. Most people think nothing of it and keep driving. That half second just sent unburned fuel straight into your exhaust system, and what happens next is expensive. Your catalytic converter operates at temperatures between 800 and 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit during normal driving. Raw unburned fuel hitting that heat does not just burn off cleanly, it superheats the converter's internal structure and can destroy it within minutes of repeated misfires. A catalytic converter on a Mercedes costs $1,000 to $3,000 to replace. The misfire causing it is usually a spark plug or ignition coil, $50 to $300 to fix. That gap is the entire cost of ignoring a small problem. Misfires also push raw fuel past the piston rings and into the oil. That fuel dilutes your oil, strips lubrication off cylinder walls, and causes metal-on-metal wear you cannot hear or feel yet. Over months of occasional misfires, internal engine wear accelerates far beyond what normal miles would cause. If your check engine light turns on, get it scanned within 48 hours. If it is flashing, that is an active misfire happening right now. Avoid driving aggressively until it gets diagnosed. A flashing light is not a suggestion. Most Mercedes owners have no idea their AWD system is slowly destroying itself because of fluids nobody told them to change. That is the next secret, and it catches people completely off guard. Secret 3. Old fluids in AWD parts can slowly destroy them. All-wheel drive feels invisible when it works. Power goes where it needs to go, the car stays planted, and you never think about the parts making that happen. And that is exactly the problem, because while you are not thinking about it, the fluids inside your transfer case and differentials are breaking down, and the metal they protect is wearing them down. These fluids handle serious pressure. Every corner you take, every time the system splits torque between wheels, those fluids get stressed. By 60,000 to 80,000 miles, they are burnt, depleted, and doing a fraction of what they did when new. Most owners find this out at 140,000 miles when they decide to do everything at once. By then, the clutch packs are worn, seals are tired, and gear surfaces are scored. The fluid change that costs $300 at 70,000 miles is now a $2,000 to $4,000 rebuild. City driving makes this worse than highway driving. More turns, more tight corners, more constant load on the AWD clutches. If you drive mostly in the city, shorten your service interval by 10,000 to 20,000 miles from whatever the manual says. Keep all 4 tires at the same pressure always. Even a 5 psi difference between tires forces the AWD system to compensate constantly, wearing the clutches faster than normal mileage would. The next secret is something every single driver does every single morning, without realizing they are grinding their engine down with every cold start. Secret 2. Hard driving on a cold engine causes damage you won't feel yet. The moment your engine starts cold, the oil has drained to the bottom of the pan overnight. Every bearing, every cylinder wall, and every moving metal surface has no protective film on it. For the first several seconds after startup, metal contacts metal with almost nothing in between. That is when the most wear happens. Not at high miles, not at high RPMs, right at the start of every single drive. Some engineers estimate that 60 to 80% of total lifetime engine wear happens during cold start conditions. Oil needs time to circulate everywhere. Metal parts need time to expand to normal operating temperatures. If you are already accelerating hard before that happens, you are grinding surfaces that have no protection at all. You do not need to sit and idle for 10 minutes because that is old advice. Just drive gently for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Keep RPMs under 3,000, no hard merges, no heavy throttle, and no aggressive acceleration until the temperature gauge reaches normal and holds steady there. Short trips compound this problem badly. 10 2-mile trips are dramatically harder on your engine than one 20-mile drive. Short trips mean oil never reaches full operating temperature, so moisture and fuel contamination never burn off. Over weeks of that pattern, oil breaks down far faster than any interval would predict. This habit costs nothing. It takes 0 extra time, and it can add 100,000 miles to your engine if done consistently. The last secret sounds minor. 1 small drip per night. It has killed more engines than almost everything else on this list combined. Secret 1. A small oil leak can turn into a dead engine if you wait. One drop of oil on your driveway every night sounds like nothing. Most people see it and think they will deal with it. Eventually, it turns into 3 months. 3 months turn into a year. And across that year, your engine quietly lost close to a full quart of oil with no warning light, no noise, and no indication that anything was wrong. A quart of low changes how the oil pump works during hard driving. When you take a fast corner or brake suddenly, oil sloshes in the pan. If the level is low enough, the pickup tube sucks air. Oil pressure drops for a second or two. Your bearings run dry. That happens repeatedly over months, every aggressive corner, every hard stop, and the damage accumulates silently. The most common leak spots on a Mercedes are the valve cover and oil filter housing. Rubber seals that harden and crack after 8 to 12 years of heat cycles. Fixing them early costs $100 to $400. Waiting until bearing damage sets in costs $3,000 to $8,000, depending on how far it went. Look under your car once a week, 30 seconds with your phone flashlight. Any wet spots means something needs attention before 90 days pass. After driving, if you smell burning oil, that oil is hitting hot engine surfaces and burning off wiring and rubber from the inside out. Check oil level every 2 weeks. Keep a spare liter in your trunk. The entire habit takes 2 minutes a month, and it is the single most powerful thing on this list. A 500,000-mile car is not special. It is just owned by someone who did these 10 things consistently while everyone else waited. Most people learn this stuff the hard way after the bill arrives. Now you know it before. Drop a comment below telling us which secret caught you off guard the most. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe to Mercedes Daily and see you in the next video.